When they found her, something didn't make sense. There had been a storm the night before. Heavy rain, the kind that turns everything into mud. But the ground underneath her was completely dry. No drag marks, no disturbance, nothing that showed how she got there. And once you notice that, the whole timeline starts to feel off. Out on the Memphis city limits, there's a stretch of woods. Not scenic, not remote, just a patch of trees squeezed between a service road and a drainage ditch. People pass through it every day, which makes what happened there harder to explain. It was late afternoon, humid, the kind of day where the air just sticks to your skin. A guy walking his dog noticed something off the trail, something pale that didn't match the browns and greens of the brush. At first, he thought it was just dumped clothing. I mean, that's what people always think at first, right? Then the dog started pulling, whining in that low, uneasy way animals do when something isn't right. And that's where things get weird. According to the police report, the body had likely been there for less than 24 hours. But if you look at the scene photos, yeah, the ones they don't like to talk about, it doesn't quite line up. The ground underneath her, it was dry. No disturbance from recent placement, no drag marks leading in, nothing. So, how exactly did she get there? The police said it was a homicide, blunt force trauma, but no weapon was ever found. They pushed the timeline hard, sticking to that less than a day estimate like it was absolute fact. But here's the thing. There was a massive storm 2 nights before she was found. Heavy rain, enough to soak that entire area. Anyone local will tell you the ground turns to pure mud after something like that. Yet somehow, her clothing wasn't caked in it. Her shoes, they were still relatively clean. Look, that just doesn't happen. Not if someone's dumped in that spot after a storm. It just doesn't. There was one guy. There's always that one guy. He came forward 3 days later, claimed he'd seen a car parked near the woods the night before. Dark sedan, engine running. But when you watch his interview, I mean, really watch it, notice his hands. They won't stay still. He keeps rubbing his thumb against the edge of his phone like he's trying to sand it down or something. And his eyes, they flick to the side every single time the detective asks about the time. First he says 9 p.m., then he shifts it closer to midnight. That's not a small mistake. That's a different story. No one has been able to account for her movements in the 6 hours before she died. To a friend's house just after sunset, a traffic cam catches her heading west, and then nothing. Her phone didn't just die. It stopped pinging towers entirely, not turned off, just silent. Usually, that means it was destroyed or shielded. Both of those take intention. There's a detail they didn't really emphasize. There was a mark on her wrist, not a defensive wound, but a mark from pressure. It looked like something had been tied there. That detail got exactly 1 line in the report. 1. But if you think about it, that changes everything. That suggests control. It suggests time spent with her before the end. The police brought a guy in, questioned him for hours. then let him go. Insufficient evidence. That's the phrase they used. But why choose that spot? It's not hidden. It's exposed. Cars pass by. People walk their dogs. You don't pick a place like that unless you're confident you won't be seen, or unless you want her to be found. And if that's the case, it wasn't just a crime. It was a message. And the truth is, we still don't know who that message was really for. Look, I keep coming back to that spot. Memphis isn't exactly short on places to hide a body. You've got industrial zones, stretches of riverbank, abandoned lots where nobody goes unless they have a reason. But this is basically a pass-through. People walk their dogs there. Kids cut across it. Cars roll by close enough that headlights sweep through the trees at night. So why risk it? Unless the person who left her there knew the area better than most. Knew when it would be empty and when it wouldn't. Let's go back to that dark sedan, because the witness description, vague as it is, still matters. But here's the part that doesn't get enough attention. No other witnesses. Not one. In an area like that, you'd expect at least one more person to remember a car sitting there with its engine running, but nothing. So either the timing was incredibly precise, or that car wasn't there as long as he says. And if that's true, then his story isn't just off, it's stretched. Her phone going quiet. That's not random. People say maybe it died. That doesn't really hold up. Battery drain leaves a pattern. Signal loss looks messy. This was clean, abrupt, like flipping a switch. And the timing lines up just a little too well. Right after she leaves somewhere familiar, right before everything disappears. 6 hours. That's a long time to just vanish. No sightings, no messages, no digital footprint worth anything. It's like she stepped out of her normal life and into something else entirely. And if this was random, those 6 hours don't make sense. Random crimes don't usually come with that kind of gap. This feels contained. So now you've got a body placed in a semi-visible area, a timeline that doesn't quite hold, a witness who shifts details, and a window of time that just sits there unexplained. Put that together and it starts to feel less like coincidence and more like intention. Not perfect, not clean, but deliberate. Because if this wasn't random, and I don't think it was, then someone made choices. Where to take her, how long to keep her, where to leave her, and why those missing hours mattered so much. Because sometimes the body isn't the message. The timeline is.